Back to Fox top story. The Russians test launching a so-called Satan 3 nuclear missile. Satan 2, I'm sorry. Satan 2. They claim it can hit any target in the world, just as the Russian ambassador says relations with the United States are the worst he can ever remember. Quite a combo. Let's turn to Alina Polyakova. Sorry, Alina, a fellow in foreign policy at the Brookings Institution. Is this chatter? Is it something more? Is there a way to know?
Well, I don't agree with the Russian ambassador on too many things, but I agree with him that we are in a downward spiral when it comes to U.S.-Russia relations. And given all the expulsions that we saw happening just this week, I don't see a clear end in sight. And I think the bigger problem is also that we don't have the same rules we had during the Cold War, where the Soviet Union knew what we were doing. We basically knew what they were doing. And now many of those rules of the game are pretty much gone.
How do you ratchet the tension down?
There's a few things that the U.S. and our allies in Europe can do. Russia is deeply dependent on the global economy. Europe remains Russia's largest trade partner. Now, what that means is that there's a lot more leverage that we have over Russia than Russia has over us. You know, they're testing all of these missiles, doing some saber rattling, but at the end of the day, we've been in a position where Russia can destroy the U.S. and the U.S. has all the power to destroy Russia. What we need to start thinking about is strategically, how do we punish Russia, impose consequences, and limit its power in the world? The economy is one way to do that. Another way to do that is to go after the dirty money. The Russian elite, the cronies close to Putin, they love having their yachts and their villas all over Europe, in the United States as well. And this is stolen money from the Russian people, and we can really go after them for that.
What's your assessment of what's been done thus far?
I actually think the Trump administration has done quite a bit to send a very clear message to Moscow. The expulsions that we just saw were the most significant that we've seen since 1986, when the Reagan administration expelled 55 Soviet diplomats at the time. And this time the U.S. expelled 60. So this was a very strong signal. It was coordinated with Europe. And I think the Kremlin got the message. And another thing the Trump administration has done well is they have imposed new sanctions on Russia. And this will continue to be ratcheted up. I have no doubt about that.
Is the tone right from the president? Should the president be speaking up more, or is this a correct tactic in your estimation?
Well, what we've seen is this dual track emerge in the United States, where we have the administration, ratcheting up sanctions, imposing new punishments on Russia. And then we have the appointment of Russia hawks coming up. John Bolton and Mike Pompeo have very clear views on Russia. They think Russia is an aggressor, not a potential partner. But then President Trump has remained relatively quiet as his administration has taken some very significant steps. Personally, I would like to see the president speak out very clearly about what the Russians have done and the consequences that the U.S. will impose.
Thank you. Appreciate it very much.
Thank
Alina
you, Shep.
Polyakova live with us.